had a look at the data and we've looked at the sorts of things that they are asking, how they could gather that data, and we're tailoring a program towards that. So trying to provide those experiences, but mainly what we're finding is the most important thing is to make sure that families are actually informed. So we can provide the experiences all we like, but until I actually said to families, you know, I talked to them about the data, I talked to them about the census, and then actually showed them. And it is about our children in this community, and as I said before, the information that we have, the data that we have about these children in our community, the ones that are, you know, in the school behind me now, and everybody wants the best for their children, and I guess perhaps sometimes as professionals we make assumptions about what parents do and don't know, and maybe what their values might be. It's important not only for the children but for the families to feel empowered because they have some knowledge and they can go out and talk to other people and they can talk to their families at home. I think sometimes there's a feeling that the teacher is the person with the knowledge and, you know, they're the person you need to follow what the teacher says, but the families are getting information so they can feel empowered themselves on their weekends at home, you know, night time, whenever it happens to be. We can make assumptions about what children can and can't do. We can make assumptions about what children do and don't need, but we don't know unless we have this data. So for us, this is really important because we need to acknowledge that this is actually happening to our children and in this community. This is a more holistic look at children, I guess you would say. It's not just a narrow, you know, set of parameters. And so the data, it can make us empowered. It can give us more information. It can help us tailor what we're doing. And hopefully it's going to lead to us making some change in our community. We do a kinder development check twice a year, and a long time ago when I first did the first ones of those, you might have one child in your class that needed some extra help with speech. You might have one child in your class whose gross motor skills weren't, they didn't pass the gross motor checks, there's 13 markers and they couldn't pass them all. Now we might have a quarter of the class. So that's a massive shift, and that's a massive, like a couple of years ago in a kinder class that we had a quarter of the class were having speech therapy. So if you have a look at it, it looks like a pretty regular playgroup. Louise and I work together to plan the playgroup.
I would bring my son along to playgroup, which is run by Tanya, and my daughter goes to Franklin Primary School, so I come here quite often. And Tanya invited me along with her to do the course, which was a PAC course. When I learnt the information, it was a big eye-opener. The certain activities that were set up, I just thought were just random activities that kids could play with, but there's quite a bit of knowledge and thought gone into these activities to teach children different things.
We have picked two areas, otherwise there'd just be too many. So we picked the speech and communication sort of area and the physical development area. And that's one of the things is trying to encourage families to come and participate in those things with their children. So we make sure we have the obstacle course out. We've got balls out and about, so we are kicking and throwing and catching. And with the little ones, you know, rolling balls and those sorts of things that are age appropriate for them. We've been having a lot of activities set up around the room, mainly to provoke conversation between children and their parents. So today we had lots of, you know, shiny stones, spiky things, lots of like the bark and those kinds of things for the children to have a look at. And then we're encouraging the parents, when you're talking to your child, increase their vocabulary by saying things like, you know, not just, oh, that's shiny, or that's smooth, isn't it? But maybe using another word. So, oh, doesn't it feel really silky? Or that's really spiky and bumpy, isn't it? How does it feel on your hand? Just because research shows us that the more words children hear, the more successful they're going to be in the long run, particularly with their reading and writing. So we're trying to encourage those sorts of interactions between the children and their parents. We had a meeting, the parents and myself, I can see that there's a real difference because they have some knowledge and they have some information, and it's sharpened their focus, I suppose, on these sorts of things, and that playgroup's not just to come and have a cuppa and a chat. I mean, sure, there's plenty of those things that happen also, but I think they're feeling empowered. The families are feeling empowered because they have information, and everyone wants to they want to do the best for their children, and they're working with me. You know, there are conversations that they come and have, and they will ask many more questions than they did before, so that can only be good. It's essential information about the children that we are teaching, the children that we're working with in the early years programs. And these children are all going to get to prep, and they're all going to go to grade 1, and every bit of research tells you that if we can get it right in these really early, crucial early years, then the flow-on effects, you know, as children get older, you know, it's just makes such a difference, and it's so important, and we need to get it right.